Some criminals manage to hide their terrible deeds for many years. And when they are sure that they will go unpunished, fate brings its own changes. Completely by accident, terrible secrets are revealed, and the guilty person has to answer for what he did. This is what this story will be like. Diane O'Dell was born in 1953 year. She grew up in a Catholic family of strict morals, but already in her teens, the girl began to rebel. She didn't want to live by the rules, she wanted to have fun. She started dating with guys quite early, spent time in bad companies, used alcohol and drugs. Diane's family had to move frequently. It also negatively affected the upbringing of the girl. Her parents tried to calm her down, but this only led to a deterioration in the relationship. The girl did everything she wanted and she did not think about the consequences at all. Diane's windy behavior soon led to sad consequences. She was only 16 years old when her first child was born. She probably didn't want him. The girl gave birth herself, in the bath. There was no one at home. She wanted to hide the fact of the birth of a child, so she strangled him. It is easy for some women to kill their newborn child because they have not yet formed a bond with him and have not developed maternal feelings. Especially if they didn't want it to begin with. True, for most women, this connection is established even at the moment when they find out about pregnancy. But that didn't happen with Diane. Killing was not her only shocking decision. Instead of disposing of the body, she placed it in a blue suitcase, which she kept at home for some time. Many years later, the writer William Falm spoke to Diane and asked why she did it. One of the reasons that she voiced is the desire to someday arrange a decent funeral for a child. She didn't want to throw it away like garbage. But the nameless baby was never buried. Instead, when Diane and her mother moved once again after the death of her father, she took the suitcase with her. They settled in upstate New York. Despite her turbulent life and love of entertainment, young Diane dreamed of one day meeting the ideal husband who would be a wonderful father to her children. She wanted to be a good housewife who would raise children while her husband earned money. For a while, the girl's dreams came true. In 1976, when Diane was 23, she met James O'Dell. They got married and moved to Florida. But before doing so, the girl decided to get rid of the blue suitcase. She placed it in the trunk of her old car and went to the junkyard, where she left the vehicle. Living with James, Diane gave birth to 3 children. For some time she managed to lead a normal life. She tried to be a good wife and mother. But she soon got bored with it. The girl began to drink and cheat on her husband. James did not tolerate this and after 5 years filed for divorce. After parting, Diane left 3 children to her ex-husband, and went to her mother. She returned to her former dissolute life. Now she had nothing to stop her from doing what she wanted. There was no permanent man in the girl's life. Soon she became pregnant and did not even know from whom. She had many lovers. The 5th pregnancy was another problem for Diane. Without a husband, she did not need this burden. And besides, she did not have money to support another child. So she made a familiar decision. She did the same terrible thing that she did when she was 16. It wasn't hard for her to decide. So Diane became a serial killer of her own children. She easily dealt with unwanted pregnancies. She gave birth at home and strangled babies. But she did not dispose of the bodies, but put them in boxes and stored them in a rented warehouse. It's hard to say why she did this. Perhaps she was afraid that her secret would be revealed and she would have to be punished for what she had done. Or maybe she felt remorse and was reassured by the thought that her children, albeit inanimate ones, remained nearby. She had a perverted mind. In such a terrible way, Diane got rid of only those children whose fathers were not going to participate in their upbringing and help financially. If a man agreed to help, she left the child, because he became a source of stable income. She did not work, but lived on welfare. Most of the money went to entertainment and alcohol. As a result, for 4 years in the warehouse that Diane rented, there were 3 boxes with terrible contents. She settled down only when she found a new husband, Robert Sauerstein. It happened in 1985. They did not officially marry, but during their time together they had 5 children. In 1989, the Sullivan County, New York police raided the couple's home. In an abandoned car, which was about to be sent to a crusher, they found a battered blue suitcase with the decomposed remains of a baby. Finding the owner of the car was easy. She was registered to Diane O'Dell. At first, the woman denied that it was her child. But after the police showed her evidence, she confessed to what she had done. Diane claimed to have become pregnant at 16. Apparently her father raped her. The child was born dead, because on the eve of childbirth, her father beat her badly. It was not possible to interrogate the father. He died long before the discovery of the find. In her defense, Diane said she couldn't afford a proper funeral. So she put the baby in a suitcase that she kept for several years before hiding it in the trunk of her old car. Due to the strong decomposition, it was impossible to determine the cause of the infant's death. Therefore, no charges were brought against Diane. The serenity of the Sauerstein family lasted almost 20 years. Until another terrible secret woman is revealed. She stopped paying for the rent of the warehouse, where, in addition to things, boxes with the corpses of children were stored. The entire contents of the premises were sold at auction. The buyer was Thomas Bright. It was not the first time he participated in such auctions. At first glance, it seemed to him that among the things there might be something of value. There were many boxes. The man was sure that he made a good deal by paying $75. Thomas took one box. She had a strong bad smell. Opened it and saw a piece of brown cloth in polyethylene. Expanding the contents a little, Thomas saw the baby's face. The body was mummified. The man was horrified. He started yelling, "Baby in the box! Dead baby in the box!" With trembling hands, he picked up the phone and dialed the police number. When the patrol arrived, the warehouse was searched. 2 more boxes with babies were found there. In addition, the police found the documents of the tenant of the premises, Diane O'Dell. The woman was located and summoned for questioning. She told an incredible story. As the detective recalls, at that moment Diane was 49 years old. She was well behaved and clearly expressed her thoughts. Diane said that the children were born dead, and she did not have money for a decent funeral. The detective doubted her words. The chances that 4 children were born dead, but at the same time there are 8 healthy children, are extremely small. He wanted to get to the truth, because he felt that criminal acts were clearly hidden here. The police couldn't charge Diane if the children were actually stillborn. The forensic examination could not determine the cause of death. The case could only be opened if the woman herself admits what really happened. And the investigators were unexpectedly lucky. At one of the interrogations, when the detective once again asked Diane about how and where the birth took place, why she put the children in boxes, and so on, she seemed to be immersed in memories and said, "The baby was crying and did not calm down." The detective abruptly interrupted her with a question, "Baby was crying?" This completely disproved the stillbirth. The woman realized that she had said too much. There was fear in her eyes. Ultimately, Diane admitted that all children were born alive. In 2003, she was found guilty of 3 murders and was given 75 life sentences. However, she has to apply for parole in 2029. By that time, she should be 76 years old. Despite confessing during interrogation, Diane denied her guilt at the trial. She said she didn't kill her children. Her husband and children do not believe that she could have done such a thing. According to them, she is an ideal mother and wife. But the woman's brother is sure that she could do this, and he fully agrees with the verdict. What punishment do you think this woman deserves? Write about it in the comments. I will be very interested to know your opinion.